so some ranchers are going to hear about this and they're going to hear the discussion about high fence stuff and they're going to think, well, that's not for me. I put out corn and that's I got deer out there and that's all I need. What are some of the advantages that using Cervid Complete products can low fence ranchers and free range guys expect?
Okay, so the free range guys can expect just as much benefit out of these products as what a high fence ranch can. You're still going to be giving your deer the premium nutrition. We even developed some stuff kind of geared around some free range guys to feed through some spin feeders. We call that ration booner bait.
Where does booner come from?
So booner, record book whitetail, a Booner Crockett whitetail, 175-inch deer is a Booner Crockett deer, and just a nickname, they call them booners.
Gotcha.
So if you want to track the booners onto your property, you need to be slinging booner bait.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the total nutrition that is in the feed is something that a lot of people that pick up a bag or two at the feed store, they go grab a national brand, they think it's good without really reading the breakdown or doing what we ask our wives to do when they're in the grocery store and actually read the label and say, okay, well, is this good stuff we're bringing back? So our buck builder has 18% protein and 7% fat. Compare that 7% fat to 2% fat in a national label. How does that stack up and what does that do for the animal?
So it's just going to provide them more energy. It's going to provide them more energy, more calories, just going to promote better health.
And energy and fat are kind of synonymous or synonyms in the feed industry.
Yeah.
So after the rut, your bucks are going to be worn down, especially the ones that are on the free range and your low fence ranches. What does that energy level do for those bucks?
So it just helps them recover faster, and you get them over that hump quicker. You're going to roll right into the next growing season. So the quicker you can get that animal back into shape, you're just going to get a head start on the next year's growing season.
So a buck that's in better body condition and that fat, the saying goes, you can't grow an offensive lineman on salad.
Yeah.
So you got to put some butter on potatoes for those guys to grow, and that's what that fat content does here.
Yeah. So you're never going to keep a whitetail deer, a buck, at home, or keep him from running does in the wintertime.
Right.
So the more running he does, the more calories he's going to burn, the thinner he's going to get. So the idea is to have them in the best condition they can possibly be before that starts. And as soon as they get done and they want to go done with the rut and go back on feed, you want to be giving them the best nutrition they can to pull them back out of that and get the next year's growing season started.
And our booner bait, it's got 14% protein, which is still really high, and the fat on that is 5%.
Yeah. Now,
a lot of people will say, well, what's the difference between 2% and 5%? That's just a 3% difference. But when the actual nutritional percentage, you're going not from 2% to 5%. That's not a 3% increase. That's a 150% increase, and that's very significant for these animals, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the worst practices that novice deer hunters and managers have is that they will put protein out during the growing season, during the summer, but as soon as that growing season's over and that deer goes into hard antler, they'll pull that off and fill their corn feeder up with corn and just sling straight corn for the next 6 months until they start feeding protein again. Well, that's actually one of the worst things that you can do for your deer herd, because in some of the most stressful times of year for the deer is in the winter after they're recovering from the rut, and giving them a little more nutrition is just going to benefit your overall herd. That booner bait it's got a high energy protein pellet in it. It's got roasted soybeans in it. It's got whole oats in it. It's got black-eyed peas in it. And it's blended with corn so that it'll feed through a corn feeder. So instead of just slinging straight corn out there for those guys, we put together booner bait just so they're giving their deer a little more nutrition throughout the hunting season.